Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson Jet Setting cruise tour. Today we're checking out the Majestic Princess cruise ship from Princess Cruise Lines. I just got off a 7-night sailing all the way down the Mexican Riviera to Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, and Mazatlan. So wanted to show you the whole ship here, starting on deck 19 at Princess Links, which is their putt-putt area. It's a nice, more traditional putting green rather than some of the mini golf courses that you'll see on other lines. This is the only thing on deck 19, so not much really of a deck, but plenty of activities up here during the cruise. Lots of fun, hole-in-one contests, that sort of thing. But if you walk down, you'll make your way to deck 18, which is again not a gigantic deck, but does feature the sports court and the walking track for the ship. This was the first time I was on one of the Regal class vessels from Princess Cruises. The Majestic Princess was built for the Chinese market, so there are definitely some differences compared to other ships that I've seen. But overall, I felt like the ship was amazing to sail on and had a lot of activities and a lot of space for guests to spread out. This still being COVID era, the ship was not completely full, but was probably at about 80% capacity during my voyage. So something to keep in mind during this video. So the sports court has a full basketball court, and then they can convert the court for a number of different activities like volleyball. They have a ton of pickleball during the voyage, and then there is a door over there to the right where the shooting gallery is. They have a laser shooting range on board. Unfortunately, that was closed during my entire cruise. It was broken, so may be broken during your voyage as well. We just don't know. But they did have sort of a different style of shuffleboard there to the left, and as well some outdoor exercise equipment. All of this is pretty popular in Asia, I believe. So some differences there, I think, compared to other cruises. You'll also notice that a lot of the art is not really in the American style, and that's obviously due to its fitting out for the Asian market. So something to keep in mind when you sail. You'll see a lot of Chinese next to English writing that names all the restaurants and signage. So it's more just a quirky part of the ship and doesn't detract from the experience at all, of course. What you see over there is the crew gym and crew outdoor area. This is due to COVID, so that would normally be a public deck with more sun chairs. We're just going to keep walking here down the walking track and take a look at the pool. Overall, I felt like the ship was pretty easy to navigate around. There are some newer ships, I think, that can be a little difficult because there might be a galley in the way, there might be some blockage on big public decks. Overall, I felt like this ship had a lot of decks, like deck 7, that you could walk from the front of the ship all the way to the back of the ship. There were some areas like the Allegro dining room that you had to walk on deck 7 and then down to deck 6 to reach, but overall, I felt like it was a pretty easy to get around ship and was finding my way around pretty quickly. So this deck 18 here has a great view of the pool deck. Plenty of deck chairs were available during my voyage. I think you kind of had to get there early to get something right next to the pool, but if you wanted just a sun chair just to hang out in the sun, you didn't have a problem finding something. I will say on the Mexican Riviera voyages, there were a day or two that were like a little bit cold and not really my style of sunbathing, so just keep that in mind if you are on this specific itinerary. Though we'll show you in just a second that this ship has a fully enclosed Hollywood Conservatory, which has an indoor pool. So always a warm environment for you to take a dip on this ship, which I think is really awesome and makes it a perfect fit for this specific sailing environment. So that's it for deck 18. So now we're going to head down to deck 17 here. This deck has a lot of public activities. We're going to turn right and head over to the gym. These green netted areas are actually ping pong tables. Again, for the Asian market, they had a lot of ping pong tables built on this deck, but as a result, fantastic facilities for ping pong. Lots of wind blocking, which can be a problem on cruise ships, of course. Just really fantastic. So here's the gym. The gym on board is really, really nice. Lots of brand new Precor equipment, lots of free weights, plenty of opportunities here to exercise. It was busy at times during the voyage, but I was able to always find my machine I was looking for. So really fantastic. time here in the gym. It had great views of the ocean, which is always nice. It's always hard to get into the gym on a cruise ship, or at least I'll speak for myself here, but the views make it a lot easier, and it's located right on the top of the ship, so really a fantastic time here. And you'll see it's located right next to the kids club, so if you have kids, easy to drop them off and get an exercise in. So there are 3 kids club areas on board, all sponsored by Discovery. For kids 3 to 7 years old, there's the Tree House, and then for kids 9 to 12, there's the Lodge, which has some foosball and air hockey tables and skee ball. And then the Beach House, which is for 13 to 17 year olds, and it's a cool little area to hang out away from parents. I didn't have any kids with me on this voyage, so I didn't hear any feedback there. We also didn't have very many kids on board, it seemed like, unless they all were hanging out up here. But needless to say, it's great to have for the whole family some space. Not as extensive as other ships, of course, but just something to keep in mind. So now we're gonna walk back towards the main part of the ship, center of the ship, walking back past all of those ping pong tables. So these all to the left here are ping pong. We'll show you in there. Of course, that one was locked. So on a lot of ships, I feel like ping pong tables are always in high demand. The ship had plenty of them, so always a table available for people. So deck 17, the sun deck, does have the top floor of the Seawalk, and we'll show you on deck 16 what the Seawalk actually entails, but this part of this is actually juts out from the main part of the ship, so lots of great views, and you can look down at the sea. It's a little scary for people on the lower deck because there's actually some glass there that you can see straight down. Really a great spot though. And of course, a princess ship like this has to have a giant outdoor screen. They feature movies under the stars, so they'll give you some blankets and some popcorn and put some nice padded chairs out for you to watch the movie of the night, and they play movies sometimes during the day, but then a lot of concerts, etc. It's a nice vibe around the pool. So now we're walking forward and into the Hollywood Pool Club and the Hollywood Conservatory. So these are the indoor parts of the sun deck. This is awesome because there's an indoor pool as well as 2 hot tubs, a bar. It doubles as a nightclub at night, so there's no real dedicated nightclub space on this ship. That's one thing I think that they probably need. And then the Hollywood Conservatory, which is a nice quiet area with some giant chess, some random musical instruments. Again, this is left over from its time sailing in the Asian market. So a very unique part of the ship and not something that you'll find on other princess ships. But a very nice tranquil area and pretty popular during the day, especially if it's a little chilly outside or if the main part of the pool outdoors is a little too busy. So this is the Hollywood Conservatory. This is where the happy hour is on this ship for any platinum or elite guests as well as suite guests. So for 2 hours each day, you'll have access to appetizers that are a little bit more high end than you can find other places of the ship, as well as some discounted happy hour drinks. So an excellent perk there if you fall into any of those categories. But other times of the day, it's free to access. They have some cabanas that I believe are left over from when they would make this more of a premium area. So this is fully open. They don't charge for any cabanas at this point, or at least they didn't during my sailing. But really nice area and great views of where you're sailing. So now we're gonna make our way down to deck 16, which is the Lido deck. Lido decks are my favorite. It's the most kind of cruise term I think out there. I don't even know what Lido is. I'm sure someone watching this does, so please let me know in the comments if you do. I haven't Googled it myself, but this is the Lido deck. So plenty of fun here. Right there, you're looking at the sea view bar, and that's where a lot of fancy pool cocktails are made. They also do some cool cocktail demonstrations during the cruise on sea days with the bartenders here are awesome. So definitely check that out if you're imbibing during your voyage. And this is the famous sea walk, so you can look straight down at the ocean. It's a little scary for people that are afraid of heights or don't trust engineering, but for me, no problem at all. So this deck has a ton of action. So of course you have the outdoor fountain pool, you have the fountain area right there, and so they'll do like kind of Bellagio style fountain shows. It's obviously not as elaborate as the Bellagio, but they'll time things to music, and it's just something to fill the time a little bit during your voyage. But then you have the Chopsticks Noodle Bar, which serves cool ramen bowls for lunch. That was really popular. I felt like the food was really good there. You have the Fountain Pool Bar, and then on the other side, the Burger and Lobster Grill. So burgers are free, but they do have the lobster rolls that are an extra charge. They used to be $12, but on my voyage, I saw that they were actually $15, which is no bueno, in my opinion. So at the forward part of this deck, there actually are a few staterooms. So those are a lot of suites, of course. It being a very public deck, great access to the pool areas. So those would be over to the left there. And so we're just gonna pop back out by the Burger and Lobster Bar here and head back aft. So there are two sea walks on this cruise ship on either side. So we'll walk by that and then past Swirls, which is the ice cream shop, and into the World Fresh Marketplace, which is the ship's buffet. And it's pretty large, but you'll see with COVID, they had a lot of it closed just due to staffing and capacity on the ships, though I imagine that they'll start opening this up fully pretty soon here. So the World Fresh Marketplace is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, of course. Open very early in the morning. I believe it opened at around 5 a.m. all the way until 11 p.m. So you can grab, your breakfast, your omelets in the morning, and then a rotating menu of dishes for lunch and dinner. I felt like the food quality was pretty good for a buffet, but you'll see here, a lot of it was closed due to COVID, and hopefully that will all open up soon, especially as they increase capacity on these ships as the cruise industry recovers from the pandemic. Now, if you haven't cruised during the pandemic yet, unlike in the past, it's not a lot of serve your own food. You have to wait for an employee, a chef, to serve you the food off the buffet, which of course keeps things very cleanly. And that's one aspect I kind of liked. I wish that they had more staff on the buffet though to serve. Sometimes the lines got a little long, but not anything more than a minute or two just to get the item that you're looking for. They did have some grab and go areas though for smaller dishes that were single serve. Now up here on the World Fresh Marketplace, you have water for free, you have hot coffee for free, and then lemonade and tea, but then everything else is charged. Everyone on board has the Medallion app with your medallion, and so you can order anything you want from the app and they'll find you on the ship. It's actually a pretty incredible system and works pretty well. So if you're in need of alcoholic beverage here, that's easy to do, or I think anyone that is bussing the tables can also help serve you there too. For instance, if you order an omelet you'll get a little slip to return, and a lot of the waiters were able to just grab that for us, which was really nice. Overall, the Princess ships had excellent service both times I've sailed with them. And now popping out the back of the ship is the Wake View Bar. I feel like not a lot of people found this bar during our voyage. It wasn't always that busy. So it was really a nice area and good spot to watch the wake. It's one of my favorite spots on any cruise vessel. So now decks 15 through 8 are all staterooms. So we're gonna jump all the way down to deck 7 now, which is the main indoor public deck. So we're back here at the aft part of the ship on deck 7. We're gonna walk into the Vista Gaming Lounge. Now that sounds like the casino, but it's not. It's actually where all the bingo's played, some game shows at night, lots of activities, music, that sort of thing. So don't be confused by that, which I was at first. I was like, where are all the casino games? But this was actually just a function room, and this is pretty typical of most ships and a good place to hang out during the day if you want to play cards. And then we're just going to walk all the way forward on this deck. But first, we're going to check out on deck 6, the Allegro dining room, because the Allegro room is sort of a secret. It's a smaller dining room compared to the Concerto dining room on deck 6, but they're separated by a galley, so it's hard for people to find and not a lot of people know about it. Moving onward through deck 7, we have the Crown Grill, which is one of the Majestic Princess's specialty restaurants, and then there's also the Crown Bar. So here you have your steaks and seafood. We ate there one night. It was fantastic. Definitely recommend you spend the money for a meal at the Crown Grill. And now we're walking up towards Princess Live. This is one of my favorite venues on the ship. It's where a lot of the games happen, some lectures during the day. It's actually a working TV studio, so what that means is that they can film a lot of their activities and then broadcast it through the ship throughout the rest of the cruise. It was pretty technologically advanced, I would say, so that was really a cool spot. A lot of seating in there, but for really popular shows like the Newlywed Show, you'll need to get there a little early. And then right outside of that is the Princess Live Cafe, so you can actually get coffee here in the morning, as well as drinks throughout the day. So definitely a good tip if that coffee bar downstairs on 5 that I'll show you is busy. This area here also has a espresso machine. Now we're walking towards the main atrium on the ship, which covers 5, 6, and 7. So on the right here are a bunch of fancy shops. So a lot more shopping on this ship, again, because of the Asian market that it used to sail in. So there's a Bulgari store, a Cartier store, and then a ton of shops towards the forward part of the vessel. So definitely something that's unique about the ship. So if you're into shopping, you got plenty of options on the Majestic Princess. As we walk forward as well, this is where the top level of the Princess Theater is, so it goes all the way down to deck 6. This is where all the big main production shows are, the comedian, magician sometimes. We had a lot of entertainment on board. Princess Entertainment I felt like was pretty good. Check out my video on the cruise review coming soon, in case you wanted to see some of the entertainment options on board. So we're back at the main atrium. Here's Ocean Terrace. This is a bar. I believe they also serve sushi. And then the Bistro Sur Mer, which is another specialty restaurant. It's French. They have steaks, they have seafood. I had some excellent ahi tuna in here. So definitely a great option, and not all the ships in Princess's fleet have this, unlike the Crown Grill. So if you are looking for something a little different, if you've sailed Princess before, there you go. Now we're going to take these beautiful curved staircases down to deck 6. I believe it said deck 6 earlier, but this is now deck 6. If you want to buy some overpriced pieces of art, that's over there to the right. And then up ahead is actually the Concerto dining room. And this deck kind of gets cordoned off, like I said, with the Allegro dining room. There's a big galley in the middle, so only part of this deck is really walkable. So it's basically midship up to forward. But there's the other side of the Concerto dining. Concerto dining is also where the club dining is. So if you're in a suite, you can walk straight in and dine anytime, and there's never a line. It's a really big benefit because there were some lines getting into the dining room some nights even with a reservation. And then over here to the right is Alfredo's Pizzeria. So you can get a lot of different made-to-order pizzas here. It's all free. If you want something delivered, though, on the ship, there's actually a cost, funny enough. So this was always really popular, but it was really, really good. I felt like the pizza was pretty high quality for sea pizza. And now we're walking straight into the casino, which is obviously very popular on board. And then they actually have a VIP lounge, which used to be a gaming area when the ship sailed in Asia, but it's been converted into sort of a sports bar. The Princess ships now have sports betting on board on your app. And so they have a lot of screens here that you can watch a various amount of games, which is pretty cool. And this room is really nice. It's not smoky or anything, so that's nice compared to the casino. So right next to the casino here is the arcade. It was shut during my tour of the ship, but I was able to get in there a little bit later, so it has certain hours that you can access it. Lots of fun games here for the kids or kids at heart. And then moving back towards the aft part of the ship on deck 6, we have the photo area. This is also where you can buy some medallion paraphernalia. The medallions on the ship allow you to access a lot of things as well as be charged. So you can buy a wristband there. And then Good Spirits at Sea over here was a very popular bar. They have a lot of fancy cocktails. They also have sort of a magic show at night with one of the bartenders, so a lot of fun. And so now we're going to head down towards deck 5. So deck 5 is also not a gigantic deck, but has a few options for people. A lot of restaurants. This is also where guest services is, and the spa. So we'll show you all of that here in a second. So over to the left here, I can't show you inside the Symphony dining room because it was closed during my visit, but this would be another dining room option for folks if the ship was full. So there's one option there. The main atrium here is a hub of activity. It's of course got the glass elevators and the fountains at the bottom, but they have some games during the day. They have a lot of music at night and tons of dancing. So if you're into dancing, there are people there all the time. And then over there to the right was the future cruise desk. So a good deal on board is to book your next cruise, or at least put a deposit down, and you get some extra shipboard credit once you come back on board. So that's pretty fun. And then another bar and Vines. So Vines is the wine bar there. It's not where they do the wine tasting. The wine tasting is done actually in the main dining rooms. But a good option there for folks. Then over here is the Harmony, which is the Chinese restaurant on board. This is very unique to this ship. They definitely changed the menu since being in Asia, but it's a high-end Chinese restaurant, so something different there for the loyal Princess cruisers. Now moving back into this lobby, this is where the main guest services desk is, as well as the shore excursions desk. And then we're going to move forward into the spa, which I will show you a full tour of right now. So the spa is definitely one of the largest I've seen at sea. They have a lot of, obviously, beauty areas for you to get your nails done. They have a full salon. These are all standard issue things in the spa, but they have a ton of massage rooms, and they actually turned some of their karaoke rooms, I believe, into further massage rooms on board this ship. A little bummed about that. I think karaoke could be a really fun activity. It's really popular in the Princess Live during the voyage, but we wanted to check out the spa. And if you ever want to look at the spa and take a tour, I recommend doing that before you depart. Pretty much every ship I've been on offers that. There's always a raffle to win some spa credits on board. You never know, you might win. So always fun to try your luck. There's lots of raffles on cruise ships, and you never know, you might get lucky. So you can also buy a spa pass for the cruise, and that allows you access to this full aromatherapy and indoor jacuzzi area. It's a lot of fun. They have the nice stone heated seats here. Really a lot of fun and a relaxing, activity for you if you're spending a lot of time on board. So they try and get you with a full week pass, but I believe that they offer day passes for about $50 if they're not sold out on your voyage. So moving on from the spa, we're going to show you the rest of Deck 5, and then we are going to show you our balcony cabin. So Deck 5 also has the main coffee shop, so they also have some sandwiches throughout the day, as well as some baked goods, donuts, that sort of thing. There's a lot of options here on board to eat and drink, as you can imagine, it being an all-inclusive experience. So now let's show you our balcony suite room now that we're done with our tour of the Majestic Princess. So we were in cabin C539, that's on the Caribe deck, deck 10. Liked the location. We were towards the aft part of the ship, so that was great. Pretty decently sized room. I felt like the bathroom and changing areas, huge compared to the rest of the room. So lots of options there if you have a lot of hanging clothes for your voyage, lots of formal nights. There are 2 formal nights on board, so you may want to bring some nice clothes. They do have laundry services on board if you're just wanting to pay for that, so is an option for you. walk-in shower there with a curtain, not one of the doors like some of the newer ships have. I actually kind of like the curtain, to be honest, even though it doesn't look as sleek. It just gives you a little bit more room to work in the shower. And then 2 twin beds there. I was traveling with my brother-in-law. Shout out to Rob. So we had 2 twins, but you can push those together as a queen if you're traveling with your wife or your partner. And then a nice desk area to work, and then the balcony, which we were in the beautiful port of Los Angeles. I say that facetiously, and so we had a lot of cargo ships near us, but not a gigantic balcony by any means, but gets the job done. So thanks a lot for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already.